Welcome to LOA Today. I'm Walt Thiessen. With me today are Louis D'Souza and Anne-Marie Young. This is your Daily Dose of Happy. We are so happy you decided to join us today. And I'm especially happy to be just relaxing because this has been a hectic day so far. So it's time to just calm it all down, which will last about 3 minutes until we start laughing. But, other than that, I'm looking forward to this lower resistance mode that we get into on this show. Yeah. It's been quite the day. It was quite the weekend, actually. I don't know. How was your weekend, guys? I'll tell you my story after I hear yours. But anything interesting going on?
I can't remember. Did we have a weekend?
Are you like Maggie Smith? What is the weekend?
I don't work 9 to 5. I have no idea. I haven't for the last 15 years. Oh, there was a weekend. Oh, it's supposed to be a Blue Monday. Oh, I remember those days.
Yeah, right.
No, I don't. I've forgotten them already.
Well, I'd say that's pretty much summarizes how Louis' weekend went. He didn't know it was one. How about you, Anne-Marie?
Do you know what? I had a really good weekend. It was really busy, but I was hoping to have the afternoon to myself on Saturday afternoon to finish that Illusions book that you guys recommended.
Oh, what'd you think?
I haven't finished it yet. I didn't get a page run because my husband was poorly and we never got the kids away. But I'm loving it so far.
Well, okay.
So next week we can discuss it.
All right. Well, that's something to look forward to. That's a good thing.
You can always sell them on eBay, Anne-Marie.
Not the children. Or the husband.
Both. I don't know. It depends.
I'm going to look on
I'm
my
always trying to
side.
sell mine on eBay, but they get sent back very quickly. There's no refund. It doesn't work very well.
Just in case the NSA is listening, and they are in the UK. I'm here, they're there. Just saying.
Well, our children might be in the US soon.
eBay allows children's sales in the UK, yeah.
Oh, they do they? Oh, boy, is the email going to start coming in now? Oh, my goodness. Well, now that we have that settled, yeah, let me tell you about how.
Now Anne-Marie's got lots of time to read.
Yeah, well, that's one way to do it.
Illusions.
In my little cell.
Yes, right.
Hi, Melissa. Hi, Jeffrey.
Hello. Thanks for tuning in. Let me tell you about what happened to me over the weekend. It starts about 2 weeks ago. We had a guest on named Michael Ford, and he's an interesting guy. He is an advocate of angels, and he connects with angels, and he has like lists of angels that he connects with, which is kind of interesting. The reason I connected with him was I had this distinct impression, and I can't even tell you why, but a distinct impression that he'd be able to help me go to the next level that I want to go at in terms of my own connection with inner being. Why? I can't tell you. I don't know why, but somehow I thought he could do it. So after that show, he actually stayed on, how we do an after show, right? He stayed on for the after show. We were talking and he invited me to do a marathon session 2 weeks after that, which was this past Saturday. 5 hours we were going to allocate to this thing. And he was just going to do everything it took to help me open up completely. So I said, okay, I was a little bit intimidated by 5 hours, but all right. Hey, I'm game. Give it a shot. And so we got together and he did his thing and it was fun. It was a lot of work. And by the time I was done, well, first of all, I was so done they could have turned me over. But beyond that, I was completely open from head to toe. I mean, they talk about chakras. Every chakra was wide open. And it was quite an experience. I mean, I'll go into greater detail about it, I think, on another show. But what I can tell you is this: after we did that session, first of all, we both need to get lunch and we both need to, take care of basic necessities. And he recommended go out and, just hug a tree or something, go do something in nature. So I did one of my walks and had very interesting reactions from people I was passing out on the path. many of whom I see regularly, others who I don't see.
Greeting you out of the blue. Yeah.
More than that, though.
No.
More than that. Yeah. I often get that anyway. But this time, I must have had quite a look on my face. That's all I can tell you. This time, both people I knew and people I didn't know were as they were passing me, they were looking at me in the face, big smiles on their face. It's like, oh, wow, it's so good to see you. And I'm thinking, who are you? So it was earlier experiences taken to the nth degree. It was really quite something. And I'm still kind of getting used to what this afterglow is all about. Because it happened again today. I went out, took another walk today. Same thing, exactly the same result. So either I really have made a huge shift, or else he bribed a whole bunch of people to make it look like it, because it's very effective.
Well, it does look like somebody's polished your aura there a bit.
Yeah, that's right.
No, it does.
A little bit off the top,
right.
But...
Yeah, we can see that halo forming there. Look at the background, that vortex.
now you're going to turn me into a religious figure. Okay, great. Yeah.
Oh, I'll have so much fun doing that. You have no idea.
I'm sure you would. That's what worries me.
Oh,
you obviously have forgotten.
Guru Walt, eh?
You've forgotten the book that Richard and Leslie did. Remember, Richard Bach and Leslie did their book where
the burning of the religious book.
They destroyed the religion. Yes, yeah. So that's what I think about when you talk about this. That really kind of
yeah. But Walt, not having a religion is having a religion.
Okay, now I'm really messed with.
Not having a belief is a belief.
True.
Okay. So everything is a belief then?
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. It's just a belief is just a thought you think of, and a religion are just thoughts, or many different groups of thoughts that you think of.
So if I don't think about religion, is it still a belief?
Absolutely.
So even if
it's
I don't think about it...
that you're not thinking about religion.
so it doesn't matter whether I'm thinking about it or not.
If you're just focused on what you want, then that is it. That's where you're heading. But when you're focused against something, like I'm not interested in focusing on religion, then you're focusing on it.
No. I didn't mean that I was focusing on being against. I mean, like, not focusing on it at all, one way or another.
But then again, you can't even make that statement. As soon as you make that statement,
I just focused on it.
Exactly. So, yeah.
You can't win with Louis. That's all there is to it.
You just got to be clear about where you're going and focus on what you're going, and then everything else falls away.
No, you just got to be clear about who you're doing the interview with.
Touche.
See, this is why I like doing the show so much. This is just fun. This is just plain fun. But the weekend experience was really quite the experience. And the other thing that came out of it is, I don't know about you guys, I don't normally do planned spiritual activities as long as 5 hours. Usually 2 or 3 is like a maximum for me. So 5 was kind of unusual. And after that 5 hours was up, first of all, I was exhausted. Second, I was ravenously hungry. And third, that night, instead of going to bed at like 9 or 10, 7 o'clock, I was done. And I slept 12 hours because I was just wiped out.
Yeah, I bet.
It just sucked it right out. And I was having fun. It's not like I was doing 1,000 push-ups or something. It was, but wow, it really takes it out of you when you do that much shifting.
So do you know why you need so much sleep?
I can hardly wait.
I was waiting for your suggestion as well, not mine. Both can be right. So
sometimes I try to just guess, and other times I say, I have no idea where he's going, so I'll just wait for it.
So what happens is you start detoxing on many different levels. Okay, and these toxins need to be cleaned out of the body, and one of the best time for the body to do that is when you're asleep. So it's just cleaning out all the gunk that is now released. And they call that, I'd have to give you a little more info, but they call that healing crisis.
Okay.
So you weren't quite in crisis mode. You were just it was a very easy one and very natural one for you. But
I was in cry mode, not crisis mode. I was just crying.
if you were crying, then it's cry mode.
Well, I wasn't really crying. Actually, well, there's a kind of a funny side to that one too. You know how, especially with an infant or a young child, if they're overtired, they can't go to sleep.
Yeah.
I was in that mode. I went to bed and I actually meditated for a while, but this is almost a mistake. I meditated with some headphones on with music, fell asleep in the middle of it, realized in my subconscious state that I still had the headphones on, took them off. It woke me up and I was awake for the next hour and a half. Perversity of nature or something, right?
So Walt, I've been going through a similar experience at the moment because I had an inner nudge to get a machine. Now, I usually hate machines. You could do everything with your body. You don't need anything else. But when I was
But it's fun to
young,
experiment.
yeah, I mean, when I was young, I saw this machine, and I really liked it. I knew it would be good for me, but at the time it was really expensive. So I didn't buy it. And then, of course, these days it's a really old machine now. It's not a new concept. It's like 20 years later. So I bought the machine at a fairly reasonable price. And it's called a Chi machine, CHI for energy, Chi machine.
Okay.
And all it does is it wiggles your legs.
Okay.
And it makes like a fish-like movement all the way through the body. So even your head and neck and everything's moving. So it's been so powerful for me. I've been sleeping and detoxing, and my bladder's working better. My kidneys are working better. When I say better, there was nothing terribly wrong with them, but I can clearly see the difference. It's clearing up slight digestive issues that I've had. It's helping all the food go through. My poos are really, really stinky, so I know that it's really working the gut very nicely.
Well, there's a lovely clue right there, I tell you.
But these are the things I've looked at. When I was a young boy, I went and shat in the forest and turned around and had a look and dug in and see what a poo looks like.
Of course.
You have no idea the length and breadth that I have studied.
Oh, I do have it. You do a show long enough with Louis, you get a very good
idea. Talk about the new listeners, Walt, new listeners.
This was not a conversation I expected to have.
This is not half the things I've done with my body, but so I'm always into my poo. Whenever I poo, I go turn around and have a look. Make sure no paper's on it and all the rest, but the paper gets put somewhere else, so I can have a look at it. I also know, by the way, that I'm pushing it. I've also got a wiggle that I do that makes the poo come out without any pushing. I never need to push anymore. And once you understand your body, you start understanding the movement, you start understanding how to get these things through you. So,
have you ever thought about being on Comedy Central? I mean, that would be a really good routine.
You'd be the guys laughing. I'm just the guy telling the stuff. So I suppose that's what comedians are. They just keep a straight face.
That's right, yeah.
But yeah, I wasn't intending turning it into a comedy session. This is just my life. This is just my life. So urine as well, really interesting, flowing slightly easier, darker color, getting rid of a lot of things as well. So, I always like it when it's darker because it means that's why I like mineral vitamin tablets, because they make it darker because they're cleaning stuff out. So, a lot of it's excess mineral vitamins when you use mineral vitamin tablets, but never mind. I'm highly aware of all these things. So, the water as well, I've done an extra step to my water, and I need less water at the moment, a lot less water, which is fascinating me. As I purify the water, I need less water. That is telling me that my intuition is saying that the reason for this is that the water that I was drinking was not as tolerable or palatable for my body, and it was just getting rid of it. Now that this water is really of a higher quality, I need less, which is really fascinating to me. That's my theory I'm going with at the moment. You guys can take it or leave it. It doesn't really matter. I'll be testing it in different ways over time so that I can see how true that is for me.
And I'm sure we'll get the full report.
Yeah. Water report.
Yes.
So this machine, which you can have a look online, really is helping on so many different levels. I feel bouncing with energy even more than usual. And I'm enjoying it. I'm really enjoying it because I'm getting better sleep as well. Not that my sleep is terrible, but I am sleeping much longer as well at the moment. But I think that'll change. It'll probably even get less later on. But as you go through that detox phase, there is this cleaning out and there is this need to have a little more sleep, which I've noticed over the years. So the whole thing is it's getting to wiggle your bum, and it's beginning to wiggle your coccyx and your base of your spine a lot. So it's really making that movement. You know, my whole spine is clicking and moving and it's so much more flexible. Another thing that it's helping me do is breathe easier. And it's supposed to heal a huge range of things. Weight loss is included and all those kind of things. So if anybody wants to look at the Chi machine, I highly recommend it. If you can get the original one, it is the better one. But the one I got, I didn't get the original. It's got different speeds and you shouldn't have all different speeds. You should only have one. And it's called the Chi machine because they've done Coolian photography. You know what I'm talking about?
No idea.
No? Okay.
No.
So, what they do is when you go to the Mind, Body and Spirit festivals, if you've ever done any of those in your lives, you get these guys with their cameras and they take a photograph of you and you can see your aura.
Oh, okay.
Yes, I have heard of those.
And the guy who invented it was called Coolian or something like that. And it's called Coolian photography. And so they've done it before and after with this machine and it really, you know, it's called a Chi machine for a reason. It really does change your change your energy quite significantly. Scientifically proven.
Very cool.
So
before you skip on though, I got to ask you about the water because you said you've also been purifying the water more than normal. How did you do that? What did you do to purify?
I did mention it in the last one what I was doing. So one of the things I'm holding up to the camera, I've got a 100% pure copper cup. Okay. And the other thing is I've got a Mayu, M-A-Y-U, swirling filter. So what you do is you take your water. Okay. So let me go through everything I do with my water.
Yeah, because I want to know about the copper cup as well.
So I've got an electric cable tied around my main pipe, which gets rid of the calcium in the water. Okay.
All right.
So it sits there buzzing. It's been there for about 20 years, or 15 years, and it's never failed. I check it now and again. It's still working. And I've never really had any lime scale type problem at all. It kind of gets rid of that completely.
Nice.
So then the next thing is I've got a pipe off the main pipe, water pipe, and it goes into a water filter, and the water filter purifies it with just a carbon filter, and it also does a UV light, so the UV light will kill any bacteria, etc.
Right.
So after that, I put them in two glass jugs that have got love and appreciation on it, because you know Dr. Moto.
I love this part.
Okay, yeah. So when you put those words on the love and appreciation, not love and gratitude, making that distinction there. So love and appreciation. And that is on both of these water jugs. These water jugs get filled up all the time and they sit there. So I try and not use any of the jugs of water until they've been a night out. Then I also take the jugs of water and I put this in the swirling machine. So the swirling machine is a beautiful round, dome type glassy thing. And what it does is it aerates it. So it makes a vortex of the water and pulls it down, aerates it, and gets it swirling like a natural river would do and all that kind of stuff. So it aerates it. It also gets rid of certain minerals and gets rid of chlorine, etc. Then it goes into my copper cup, showing everybody on the camera. And the copper cup really just does, it's the icing on the cake. And there's also something else, but I don't put too much stock in this. This is called purple plates. They were all the rage in one day. But if you put, say, grapes on there, and you eat them, they taste terrible. If you take water and put it on, it tastes better, etc. So you've got the purple plates, you've got the copper glass, you've got the swirly thing, you've got the filters, and then you've got all the way back to the electric gadget that I've got there. So I've got all these things in place because I know that my body is 70 to 75% water, and water is absolutely key. I want to put whatever the best is. I do not want to spend a fortune on it. I haven't gone out and bought bottled water, which would cost 1,000 times more than all these little gadgets that I've bought. These gadgets will last forever. This copper cup will last forever. And the copper cup has, I mean, the Ayurvedic teaching and the yogis, etc., have used copper for water storage forever. And, you know, water's got memory. So if it's coming out of a pipe full blast and it's smashing into walls, turning left, turning right, by the time it comes out, you've got this angry water, which is really poison to the body. So drinking straight tap water is strongly not recommended.
Interesting.
Strongly, because it's got the memory of what it's just been through. Dark, you know, horrible pipes, you know, et cetera, that are corroding, and, you know, and it's hitting walls, and it's going at really high speed. You know, the speed that water, you know, if I open my stopcock full blast, in my home, the water just absolutely comes out at a pressure of unbelievable proportions. So the pressure that this water is pushed out to all the homes is really high. And you need to understand that water has memory. And when I drink, I put my hands on both sides of the cup for a few seconds, like 5 seconds, and then I slowly drink. Now, that is a new thing that I'm bringing in at the moment. So, you know, you can all look at this in any which way you want. I don't really care. This is what I do, and I can tell you now that I need a lot less water.
Give us like
which is fascinating.
Make up some numbers. Like you used to drink
half of what I used to take.
Half, okay.
Half of what. Yeah.
Wow.
And I already had it purified to a degree before. But just taking these last 2 steps seem to have made a huge extra difference.
Wow. That's really interesting. And I take what you're saying seriously, even if I am skeptical about some of it, just because you have made such a study of water. I mean, it was one of the 4 or 5 different steps you took in your journey. You spent a lot of time focusing on how do I get the best water for me so I can have the best results from water. So I believe that there's something to it.
The thing for me is I pay £11 a month for my water filter, and they send it via the post and all the rest of it, so I don't do anything. Just comes in, I do an overnight clean, change a UV filter, change the filter, and that costs £11 a month. So otherwise there's no extenuating financial thing for my water. I use tap water, and it costs me £11 a month. That's it. All right. Plus these other things, but if you average them out over the amount of years I'm going to use them and have used them before, it's going to be nothing. Absolutely nothing.
So Louis, if you were going to advise us to do just one thing to our water, if we weren't going to do all of that, what would you advise us to do? Would it be the copper cup? Would it be just a normal water filter? What would you advise?
Don't drink it straight away. Let it settle overnight. That's the first thing. Second thing is right love and appreciation on the jug that you leave it over. Those 2 things. That's a good start.
And I do know from experience that the second one, I don't necessarily write it, but just in a sense, blessing it, giving, you know, positive vibe energy to any container of water makes it taste better.
Absolutely. I mean, it's really easy to test.
And it's odd. I mean, it's very clear. I mean, it's not like the subtle difference.
It's cheese and chalk.
Yeah, it really is. It's a big difference. It's surprising.
The thing is, when you're doing the test, make sure that you got the waters at the same temperature. So you're getting the water out of the tap. It's usually a lot colder, or at least in this country. Okay, so you want to get the waters at the same temperature because cold water hides the taste, the bad taste. Okay. So you really ideally want them both at room temperature when you're testing.
And water, typically, if it's running through a pipe system, pipes are underground. Typically, it's about 55 degrees Fahrenheit. So that's going to be a little bit on the cool side for sure. Yeah.
In this country, it's sometimes freezing.
Well, okay. You know, maybe you get your Schmeisland. I don't know, but.
No, it's just in winter it gets very cold. It's all. In summer it's different, you know. But again, it's still from underground, so it's still fairly cool.
Yeah. I think it's pretty true around the world, though. Typically, ground temperature. I mean, I know it's a life-saving technique actually in some of the northern climes. I know in Alaska it is. If you're in a blizzard, one of the first things that they try to do if they are trapped and they need to protect themselves, they'll try to dig underground as much as they can. If the tundra will let them, you know, if you can dig through the earth, but if you can dig into it, and create, a fairly good depth, you can actually create a nice little safe haven for yourself in the midst of the most cold environment, which is kind of interesting. So, but anyway,
I've been watching a lot of YouTube videos of these guys that do this breathing technique, which they can sit in the ice for hours and hours and sit there and meditate and do this breathing, which heats up the body.
Some people are just freaks.
No clothes on.
They're just freaks. Let's just be perfectly honest about it.
There's a Wolf guy that's got a lot of followers. Can't remember his name, something Wolf. And a lot of people like him. He's got that ability to do that. And he's very, what's the word? Well known on social media.
Okay. I'll have to ask Lama Rasaji, who's our guest last week. He's coming back again tomorrow, so he'll be back for a return engagement. So I'll have to ask him if anyone in his order engages in that kind of behavior.
Yeah. I mean, there's loads of things you can play with it. Yeah.
But that was actually a fun visit last week, and we kind of all agreed we could get more out of this guy. So we invited him back, and he signed up, which was great. He signed up immediately, didn't hesitate. I think within an hour.
Is he going to come on every Tuesday, or?
He probably would if we invite him to.
Okay.
I mean,
seriously, come on Monday show.
Come join us again and tell him yourself.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, okay, you did the last time.
Invite him to the Monday show.
Yeah,
he speaks so much. He didn't manage to get to say too much there, but he's so interesting that I was just quite happy to keep quiet and listen.
Well, we'll have more opportunities to ask questions. I think what it was with him. Now, I don't know. I mean, obviously we only have the one visit to go on, but my impression is it could very well be one of these situations where a guest comes on and they have their stuff that they want to say, and he had to get it all out. He had to have his say, so to speak. So he got that out. What happens on the second visit? Well, the second visit becomes more conversational. That's the way I think it was going to happen. But maybe I'll be wrong. Maybe he'll just take over the mic again. We'll see.
We'll see. I may walk up on tomorrow night.
Jeffrey popped something into the chat while you were talking there. He says, have Louis and Dan Mangena ever been on the show together? I don't think you guys have ever been on the show together, have you?
No, I don't think so. I know them. I've listened to one or two of these.
That would be an interesting combination, I have to admit. We'll have to
set that up sometime.
Because both of you guys are really deeply intellectual.
Very right. I'm not intellectual. That's an insult.
Oh, well, that's all right. You call me a guru, I'm going to call you an intellectual.
Oh, touche.
Fair is fair, after all.
I know nothing.
Well, that proves it. So anyway, but it would be fun. It would be fun, I think, to have the two of you talking.
Okay, cool. What day is he on?
He's Thursdays with Alex King. But,
Thursday.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I was on once briefly when we interviewed the stream, I think. But
with Dan? Oh, okay. I don't remember that one, but
I think Alex was there, but I don't know about Dan.
Oh, okay. Well, that's right. We'll figure out, some sort of a special event or something. I don't know. We'll figure something.
But there wasn't much else talking besides the stream.
Yeah, well, when the stream is on, that's like Lama Rasaji. I mean, you turn on the stream and it just keeps going.
It streams away.
It really does. Jeffrey says,
Sam Marie, tell us about your focus this last week. What's it been?
What's my focus been this last week? My focus has just been getting back into it after being off work, and so it's weird. Even though I was off work. So I wasn't journaling as much, but I was obviously just doing it in my head, which was quite nice, and still having that mindset. So this last week, I've just been getting back into it and setting my intentions and seeing that happen. And so my focus is just literally at the moment. I think my focus at the moment is going part-time at work, because I realised at the holidays I missed a lot with my children. Mm-hmm. So it's that's it for next summer, part-time.
Okay.
So have you managed to take Alloway into the workplace?
With the intention setting in my meetings and stuff, absolutely. With people, just framing questions. We spoke about it after the show last week, about rather than sort of talking to people about, when they're coming to you and there's something wrong, just going, rather than going, what's wrong? Going, well, would you like to happen? So people are focusing on things like that. Not seeing drastic things at the moment, but that's a good game I'm playing.
I'm curious, what kind of results do you get when you try that? Like, you especially with somebody who has a tendency to go down the negative rabbit hole. What happens when you throw that at them?
Well, Louis and I were talking last week, and he was just saying it just gives people a different focus. When they come to you, they'll start seeing you, and they'll know that you're going to kind of challenge them in a way, but have that more positive view. So rather than thinking that this is rubbish, I'm having a really bad day, you're focusing more on, this is what I want to happen. This is what I want the situation to be. And it's just changing that mindset. And I thought that was quite interesting. So I'm looking forward to playing more with that.
Oh, okay.
So I said to Anne-Marie, when they come to you, say, oh, I'm really complaining about this and this and this and this. I said, all right, I'm very clear, Joe, Jane, John, about what you don't want. I'm very clear about it. I've really got it now. What do you want?
You get a lot of blank looks that way. I know from experience. I'm just saying.
No, but your staff will very quickly, like my wife's staff has, they will not come to you with a complaint anymore without a solution.
This is true. Yeah.
They won't. They will know that you're going to say to them.
Oh, yeah.
They know that you're going to say to them, okay, now we know what you don't want. Very clear about that. Now, what do you want? And my wife doesn't have any hassles from them anymore because they know that they must come with something clear in their mind where they want to go, not where they don't want to go, because my wife's not going to sit there and listen to what they don't want.
I've done that a few times with our staff, actually, with the gardening staff. And we tend to hire people who are just sort of naturally positive anyway, just because that's who we want to have on the staff. So usually it turns instantly into a laugh. Like, oh yeah, that's right. And flip it over to something else. That's usually what the kind of responses that we get. But every once in a while, I can remember, for instance, there was one guy who was on the staff, and he came to me. He wanted, I won't even go into what he wanted. That's his business. But he wanted something from me, and it wasn't something I was ready to give to him. And so I flipped it around a little bit, and you could just see, I mean, I was standing there talking to him. You could just see the little ping pong game going on in his head. It's like his eyes are going back and forth, back and forth, trying to figure out what's the way out of this little conundrum I'm in right now. And how did I get here in the first place?
How empowering is that?
Mm.
It is. It's very empowering.
It's lovely.
Yeah.
I was playing one of my PC games, and the guy got on because there's a lot of audio in this game, and we go out as a team to kill the other ones. And this guy was really negative towards one guy in the team. And I said to him, I'm confused. Do you really think that berating this person is going to make him a better player?
Mm.
And he was looking at me. I said, wow. I mean, do you really think this kind of attitude helps people? Do you think it's beneficial? Do you think you're going to get a better round out of them? Are you going to get more kills out of them? Or do you think you're going to get less? Which one? And, he just kept quiet after that. He was like, it was like game over. He just didn't know what to say.
Well, you get a reputation.
I reckon. Yeah, I get a reputation.
When you ask questions like that, you're going to get reputation. There's always be careful of him. Yeah.
Careful, that guy's too positive.
Can't stand him.
Yeah, no, I do have quite a reputation. Everybody's asking me about the podcast now, and I mentioned Dan the other day, on 2 weeks ago, on my podcast, and he said, "Oh, is it? I'm going to go listen to it," and all the rest of it. So, and then there's another one that is also asking for the app and downloading it, etc. So it's really nice, for them to get to see me on a different way and a different level and a different platform and a different subject.
Well, for the ones who've been downloading the app, I have to apologize because there was a recent update in software that messed the app up. So right now, if you open the app, you just get a white screen. I have to fix that. So apologies. No. I am working on it. Apparently there are about 7 different pieces of support software that I have to update. And the first thing I have to do is figure out what they are. So once I get those ironed out, then I will update and it will all work again. But for the moment, apologies. Yeah.
But now that your energy and your chakras are all open, I'm sure that won't be a problem.
Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out how to open up the chakras of the software. But other than that, right.
So I do chakra clearing if we're going to talk about chakras.
Okay.
And it's very, very simple. It's something anybody can do. So you lie in bed and you go, I hope everybody on this who's listening to this knows where the chakras are. If they don't, type in Google on the image chakra chart, and you will get them. So let's just talk about the 7. We're not going to talk about any more 7. So you start off with the base chakra, and you just take your hand and you do an anti-clockwise circle. You might want to do a big one, you might want to do a small one. You do it about 2 inches away from the body, or you might want to go full arm length away from the body. You do it anti-clockwise all the way up to the third eye. Okay? You don't go higher than this one anti-clockwise if you're a male. If you're a female, you continue anti-clockwise all the way to the crown. Male, you do it the other way around for the crown. For some reason, the energy of the crown chakra is the other way around for male. Hey.
Oh, we're messed up. So what the heck?
When you do that, you really... I was thinking energetically there should be some difference between a male and a female, and this is kind of one of them. This is one of them. But it's just the kind of thoughts I have in my world. Not many people think things like that.
Not many people think like you do, Louis. Let's be perfectly straight about this.
So you're doing anti-clockwise on the base chakra, anti-clockwise on the next chakra, and then the solar plexus. And solar plexus is usually a biggie for a lot of people, but also the one just below the belly button. That's also quite a biggie for a lot of people, about an inch below the belly button. And then you do the heart chakra, throat chakra, crown chakra, third eye, and then the crown chakra. So once you're finished with that, and you can do it for a long time, you will definitely start feeling, I can't say that. Scrub that. Because of my level of sensitivity, I definitely feel the cleansingness of it and all the rest of it. But when you're finished with that, you do it clockwise, say 10 times on each one, so that you shut them down. Obviously, the male's opposite way around on the crown. But just do that for yourself, just to smooth the energy off after you've opened yourself up and released stuff. It's a kind of a release thing. But you don't have to think about anything. Different pictures may come to you, different childhood experiences, a lot of other things can come to different people. It's very powerful. It's very simple. And it's very effective. So it's one of the ones, if I had to give somebody an energy technique to play with, that's one of the ones I do. It's not Jinshin. It's actually from Donna Eden, if anybody knows who she is. A lot of respect for her. I've seen her live in London 2 or 3 times. A lot of time. And then she can see auras. She's amazing. And she's I think from America or Canada. So, yeah, if you do that, it really cleans you out. You just feel everything flows and works easier. It's really interesting. The other thing about this chi machine is it also very much works on your lymphatic system, which I need. This clearing of my throat is actually a postnasal drip that I have. And I've mentioned before that I cleared this. That was easy. Cleared that. That was not so bad. This one was really, really painful. And then it's under your arms, which it's a final drainage. And, this machine is really...
We got to explain it for podcast listeners. They can't see the video.
Okay. So sinuses start up just between the eyebrows, and then they go down to that sore part just underneath,
and those are
eyes,
easy for you to clear.
Either side of the nose. Those are not so difficult for me to clear. Yeah. The throat was backed up. And that wasn't the issue, because even if I tried to clear that, it wouldn't clear. Then I needed to work at the ones just under the clavicle. And if you rub in there and there's a little bit of soft spot, and it can sometimes be very, very painful. If it's painful, it's often your lymphatic system. Very often your lymphatic. Now, lymphatic system and so let's just finish that. And then under your arm all the way down the side. That's the one where the chi machine really gets to nice wiggle. But it also moves your neck as well. So the whole thing is very, very opening. I've been very surprised at how powerful that chi machine is and effective. So if anybody does get one of those machines, follow the instructions and do it very slow in the beginning. And the thing you need to understand about the lymphatic system works and lives and breathes on movement. You don't move, it stagnates.
That's
Breathing
true.
moves your body. So there's a little bit going on, but the more you move, the more the lymphatic system is.
Yeah, there's no heart muscle to drive the fluids or whatever.
Yeah, there's nothing else besides movement that works the lymph. Yeah.
Right.
So, I don't know, I've got so much information on the health and the body. If one day I'll start on the head, move down to the ears and the neck, and we'll probably finish an hour.
I'm sure.
Well, we can remove the eye one. I've already covered the eyes in a whole hour session.
Yeah, this is becoming almost Frankensteinish, so that's cool.
So is that because that's a similar points to tapping, isn't it? Is that doing something similar?
Tapping, there are many different modalities. A very popular one at the moment is called... Oh, it'll come to me. Tapping... I've got so many modalities in my head. Okay, so let's talk about these points here. They're called oh my God points. You know? Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Okay, so hold your oh my God points, which is just above your eyes. You put your full fingers on there. You might need to cross them over. You might have a lot more effect for you to cross over the right hand on the left and the left on the right, above the right eye. So, they're incredibly good physiologically to get blood to the head and to get blood flowing, etc. So that's proven scientifically and all the rest of it. So, you know, when you're stressed out, you want to get more blood flowing to your head. Oh my God. So it's a natural reaction, which we've been doing for centuries. And then you've got a lot of different points in your bodies. There's two main modalities. One is called meridians and the other one's called chakras. And there's another third one called acupuncture pressure points. And there's 4 or 5 more. You've got reflexology points, which are in 5 different points of your body. You've got your head, your ears, your hands, and your feet, and your tongue. And some people say the colon is a representation of the whole body. So each one of these, reflexology is quite fascinating because they say in your hand there's a point that refers to every other part of your body. So there's a point in your hand for your kidney, the liver, the lung, the heart, etc. And there's a point on your ears for all of these things, a point on your tongue for all of these, a point on your head for all of these different parts of your body. So when you massage that part of the head, then you're affecting the kidney. If you're massaging that part of the head, you're affecting the lung, etc., etc. So once you get that concept going, you start realizing there's a relationship between everything in the body.
Sure.
And I could go on and on and on and on and on. So when I say I enjoy getting sick, Walt, it's because I have a lot of knowledge and a lot of ability,
I know you do.
A lot of understanding of how to heal all this stuff.
I want to ask you something, though, about the tapping in particular, originally called EFT, Emotional Freedom Technique.
Yeah, that's the one I was thinking about, yeah.
Yeah, and it was developed by a gentleman named Peter Craig. We actually talked about this on last Wednesday's show. Cindy Chavez and Jackie Gates. Cindy was one of the original EFT-trained people back before EFT became popular. In fact, she was telling us on the show how, like, circa 2000, 2001, something like that, she worked in a naturopath's office. And so she learned it as part of, working in that office. And at the time, the EFT website was 2 pages, which was basically one page saying, here's what EFT is, and the second page saying, here's what you do. And that was the entire website. Then years later, she heard people talking about EFT, and she said, I haven't checked that out in a long time. Went to the website. It was hundreds of pages, and there was Deepak Chopra giving his recommendation and all this other stuff. It completely blown up. And she says, oh, my God, what happened? But the point that she was really hammering home on Wednesday was the emotional side of it. And in fact, she shared a really cool story about what happened immediately following Hurricane Ida, which made landfall in the southern part of the United States in the New Orleans area. She lives in Baton Rouge, which is about a half hour to an hour north of New Orleans. So her town got hit pretty hard too. She and her husband had left the area. They'd gone to Dallas to escape during the hurricane. But while they were away, they went out to dinner. They had sort of a date night out, best date night out they had in a long, long time. And on the way back to the hotel, she caught her sandal on a crack in the sidewalk, went over and hurt herself pretty badly to the point where her knee was practically immovable and yada, yada, yada. So told told that long story, told how she used tapping to alleviate the pain. Within a day, it was pretty much gone. And that included having also some help from members of her family who are trauma specialists. So she had a lot of support going on that way. But the thing that she kept coming back to over and over again was the emotional side of what her self-treatment was affecting, because that's what the name is all about, emotional freedom technique. So I'm curious what your take is on that piece of it, because like you say, EFT has been kind of expanded and taken over to all the different other systems, so it's been used with the chakras, it's been used with meridians, it's been used with the acupuncture. I mean, it's been used with all of these different modalities. Originally, though, it came from that basic concept of EFT. And I'm just curious, what's your take on the emotional side of how does emotion plug into this whole thing?
Very simply, thought creates emotion. Emotion affects the thought, and the thought affects the emotion. So I always get greater clarity. There's the nice way of putting it. I always get greater clarity when I look at emotion as an effect of thought and also look at it as cyclic.
Cyclic. Okay.
In other words, the thought will affect the emotion will affect the thought, and so it'll go around in circles. Cyclic.
I see. Okay. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So once I understand that whenever we hurt, we've often got a mental prepared response. Ouch, it's a sore, kind of story going on in our head that goes into an emotion, which is and a physical pain, etc. So there's a physical aspect to it as well. Mm-hmm. So you've got physical, emotional, and mental, and you can work on any of those three levels to help relieve it. You can work mentally, you can work emotionally with EFT or something else, mm-hmm. Or Jinshin. You can work physically by massaging, holding, etc. So you've got the ability to use different things to help. Now, when somebody just focuses on emotion, for me, there's not a huge amount of clarity in that, because I like seeing it in its cyclic, holistic, more complete form. And I don't give one side too much credence. I try to balance them all out. I look at the emotional and then the mental, and I'll look what I can do physically. Okay. And then I'll work in that way to respond to anything. And you also land up with more tools in your box instead of, I just got to use EFT to fix this, so I've just got to use that. So I will choose one of numerous different modalities for different situations, which I feel I have learnt over the years would be more effective in that situation. So that's a long answer to a short question. But
that's the way long questions, short questions usually go. Short questions usually do lead to answers. So par for the course, I would say. Yeah.
I mean, I've done a little bit of tapping, and I have to say, every time I do it, I cry. Every time. Yeah.
Where are you tapping for that? Where are you tapping for that?
Just sort of the eyes.
Oh, you're tapping there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. No, I'm curious.
Oh, sorry. I'm not showing the people. Side of my eyes, under my eyes, under my nose.
Under the nose.
Chin. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. So, there will come a stage where you will not be so affected by emotion. That is when you don't have so much to release anymore. That's when on the emotional guidance scale, you'll be higher up, and you'll be more on I don't care or hope or expectation. So you'll be on a higher level. So in the beginning, what you must understand is that you're always working with contrast, even with healing. And if you get a clear idea of where you are on the scale, and try and move up appropriately using the, if you use the emotional guidance scale correctly, you don't try go from depression to happiness, because the gap's too high. You go from depression to revenge. Okay. So when you become clear that you only want to go the next step, and then you'll get all these releases, more and more releases. Now, this chi machine's doing what a lot of my tight Jinshin, etc., and holding and chakra clearing does, brings tears to my eyes. Now, these are not emotional, okay? Zero emotion involved. Don't think this tears in my eyes got anything to do with emotion. Tears stream out of my eyes. I will get a runny nose. My sinuses will start clearing. My head will go popping, kind of like airing. It becomes lighter. I feel a clarity in my aura, my thinking. I feel release in tension in the muscles in the body. So there's lots of fairly, and certain areas of my body might go hot or cold energetically. Now, if somebody put their hand there, they'd probably think I'm hot. I mean, my whole family thinks of it hot. They always want to hug me, or when in cold environments, or lie on top of me or near me, my daughters, etc., and my wife. Because I'm just one of those guys that are always hot. So they like that.
You're a walking hot water bottle.
And I enjoy them because I need to be cooled down. So
yeah,
it is
sure.
because I burn, I run hot, and my wife, for example, runs cold. So it's a good balance. If we're both hot, it would be very uncomfortable.
No kidding.
Yes. So even when you're looking for your partner, these are little things that you can look for as well. Are they hot? Am I cold? Is that going to be a good balance? Are we both hot? Are we both cold? But it's really interesting when the whole story of my wife, Walt, and how I met her, etc.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that was quite a story too.
So briefly, you haven't heard it, Amory? No. Okay. So, I just broken up with my girlfriend. It was very traumatic for me because I couldn't really give a very good reason why I was breaking up. I just felt it would come to the end of it, and I just wanted to move on, and and she was really quite traumatized by the whole thing. So it was very difficult for me, and it was about 2 months later, and I was trying to move on, and I had a very clear idea in my mind that I never wanted any more relationships. That was it. Game over. I'd had enough of this. I just want some freedom. And
that's usually a sign that something's about to happen. Yeah,
exactly.
It usually is. Exactly. Yeah.
Then I go on a 5-day Jinshin course with about 50 people in it, and we have hands-on session every day. So they have a new bowl of numbers and a reviewer bowl of numbers which relate to table numbers. So there was about 50 divided by 3 years.
17
tables approximately. Yeah. So there were about 17 tables. So I picked table 6. And first of all, the first day was nothing. I saw this girl and I really liked her, and I made sure I sat opposite her at lunch, and I started chatting to her. And then the second day came, and I landed up on table 6, and she landed up on table 6, and this was like, wow, both landing up on the same table. This is cool. So we treated each other, and the treatment. Yeah, no, we'll skip that one.
This is usually a G-rated show, so. So the interesting thing is the next day I picked table number 6 again. So what the chances of getting 6 2 days in a row is impossible. And she landed up on table 6 as well. So 2 days in a row, we both had table 6, and even the person who was holding the class, she said to the organizer, a good friend of mine who I always go to, Carlis, I said, did you organize this? No, completely the universe. This is just the universe sorting it out. We just took a number out of a bowl and we landed up at the same table again. So, that evening we went out to dinner with all of us together, and everybody made sure the two of us sat next to each other. They even moved out the way and pushed us together. And, by the end of the course, I was driving her to the station, and I said, well, why don't you come stay over? It's really late. And she stayed over and she never left. 2 days later, we knew we were going to get married and have kids within 7 days. A year later, we got engaged at Victoria Falls on one knee in the spray of the falls. A year later, we got married at Victoria Falls. Same place, same time, really. And we have 2 lovely kids, and we're happily married for many, many years.
I love that. That's gorgeous.
Yeah, nice story.
It's a beautiful story. I love the fact too when you tell it. I love the way that your voice shakes up and so forth, because it shows it's really important. This is really, really important stuff.
No, I mean, my wife there's a very deep level of connection, so there's almost no superficial level there at all. It's a really weird relationship. A lot of people would think we don't even love each other.
Are they together anyway? Really?
Yeah. It's really weird to understand the depth and breadth to which we have our relationship. It's really different.
But
it's not what you would consider is a perfect lovey-dovey relationship. No, it's not anything like that. Perceivable from the outside.
Jeffrey has lost the thread. He wants to ask you a question. He wants to know Zimbabwe or Zambia.
Jeffrey, we did it on the Zimbabwean side and not the Zambian side, just for clarification. And we did it in the game lodge which is a beautiful location. So what it is, it's a whole lot of round rondavels, which are quite high up around a waterhole. And we had the top room, which was the suite for married couples and, the one. And what you do is you just lean out the window and you see monkeys crawling up and trying to steal your stuff. And then out in the palm, you'll see elephants coming to drink and giraffes and all the other different types of creatures. And we got married at 5:00 in the morning as the sun was rising. It was a spiritual wedding, nothing to do with Christian type words or anything, very special words. Anybody really wants the words, they're beautiful, I can give them to you. And as the sun was rising, a good friend of mine who I'd married on the beach in Durban many years earlier, married us under the tree, and she's Buddhist slash Taoist. She was a Buddhist, and she turned into a Taoist. So,
wow.
And it was a very, very, very spiritual wedding. And straight after the wedding, we wanted to spend some time alone. So they took us down to the hideout at the waterhole around the 3 minutes, around the waterhole. And so there's a little hideout. So we sat there and we watched a whole family of mongoose come and play all around us there. It was just so beautiful.
All right, so I take it back. Jeffrey wasn't losing the thread. He actually had the thread, so I'll give him credit for that.
No, Jeffrey told me he's White River rafted on that river like I did there.
Okay.
So I know that he knows the area and he knows what's going on. So
okay, very cool though. That's nice.
It's nice because my wife's family came, immediate family, and that's it. And my family, immediate family came, and one or two extra friends. And that was it. So we had the best people there. We had a week together. We had elephant rides together. We walked with the white lions. We did, White River rafting. We did microlight flights over the fall, helicopter flights over the falls. You just can't have a more idyllic wedding. And it cost me £4,500.
He remembers it.
For the flight, the accommodation, the food, the helping other people, the everything. Absolutely idyllic.
That's a beautiful way to end the conversation today. Really, really, really good. I mean, we started off with opening chakras. Look what happens when you open your chakras. Oh, my goodness.
That's way of putting it. Well done.
Yeah, well, you never know where it's going to go until you actually go through the steps and do it. And like Jeffrey says, I love romantic stories. I agree with you, Jeffrey. I think they're the best. So make sure that you tune in tomorrow, especially if you have any questions for Master Lama Razaji. It's going to be a lot of fun catching up with him again and seeing what we can delve deep down to dig out of this guy who has this connection to a group that believes that it's really cool to see how much spiritual growth there's been over the last 3,000 years. So they think in very long terms. They don't think in terms of 20 or 30 years like we tend to with law of attraction and so forth.
Well, if you count all your lives,
I suppose, yeah.
True.
That's true. So anyway, we'll see you guys next week. Thank you very much to podcast listeners everywhere. We'll see you all next time here on Elevate Today. Goodbye, everybody.